how do the older people feel in their professions today? Well, as many of you have already understood, I am a career teacher. I've been teaching in some capacity all my life. And I look back on this one particular moment. When I first became a teacher was when I was in the military. And for some reason, I fell into it. And the person who taught me or mentored me to be an instructor was a chief petty officer, master chief petty officer, and a warrant officer, WO3, I believe. He had worked himself all the way up. He was what they call a Mustanger. Now, these people actually taught me something that I really never thought about until I started doing some online teaching, and I started running into some problems when I was in another country, because I've traveled since then. I've traveled all around the world. One of the things that he taught me was a lot of the people that joined the military came in with minimal education. A lot of them came in from very dysfunctional places, from inner cities, outer cities, rural areas, some with good schools, some with bad schools. So when you become an instructor, the way you present the things to somebody, you had to keep it simple enough that those with lesser, let's say, understanding skills could grasp it, but those that had real high skills could still be interested in it. And the dynamics of being an instructor and reaching the whole group, because it's a time thing. You got so many weeks to get them through, and then they're moving out. That made a big impact on me back then, but I didn't realize it until within the last few years. I was young. I've been teaching around the world, and then I went back to the university as an older teacher, older student, got my degrees in education, got my licensing and everything, pat myself on the back. I went to my first, intern school, where I had to work a couple of years to really get my license and everything straightened out. And they put me underneath a lead teacher that was teaching when Methuselah walked the earth. She was the nicest lady I ever met. She didn't come on too strong, and sometimes I admit when I come in, I'm probably perhaps a little bit stronger. Don't mean to be. She started right away telling me, I recommend you don't do this. And I was going, what? And then she sat down and she started telling me this and this. And I really couldn't relate to any of it, because I'm in a public school now, not ESL situations where I'm, either in a learning center or a school in a third world country, where it was really kind of unstructured. I thought I knew what I was doing, but I was listening to this lady, and a lot of it didn't make sense to me. 'Cause I hadn't been in what I'm going to use the word politically correct environment. I'll just say that. Excuse me. But anyway, after about 6 weeks of working in that classroom, grade 2, broken homes, most of my students had single-parent families. Some of them were poverty, is East Texas, Piney Woods community, mixed race. And it dawned on me about halfway, every single thing that lady told me, everything from how to deal with the mentally challenged students, how to deal with those that didn't speak the English correctly, Hispanic students at that time, how to deal with administration and their prejudices and biases, and believe me, that was a big one. How to blend in with with everything in that whole environment. Everything that lady told me was right on. Did I make some mistakes? Yeah, I did. I made some mistakes. Was it a great year for me? I look back on it now, it was probably one of the best years I ever had. At the time, I thought it was really rough and wasn't cool. The second year was really definitely rough. But right after that, I ended up going back overseas. That brings me to a point where this older teacher, if it hadn't been for her, I would have made so many mistakes, it'd been unbelievable. Did I go to school and have the training? Yeah, I was given tools. I was, given a lot of thought and theory, but no practical application in that environment. Everything I knew working in those third world schools, very little of it actually applied. I used some of it, but some of it just wouldn't work in that environment. Culturally, the culture was so different, it being an American culture, that it didn't allow for some of the adaptations I had made while traveling. Now, if you're wondering where I'm going with this, the older teacher set me on the right path. Every place I ever went, I realized if you want to get information, go to that older teacher. In the military, the ones with the most experience were the ones that trained me the best. They had the best advice. Once I got over my initial ego, because I thought I was an up-and-coming person, I had it all. I was riding a wave of growth, whatever you want to call it. The more I worked, the more I realized I didn't know anything. These people were the ones who helped me make it. Now, what I'm seeing in today's society, the young people don't want to listen. They're too busy wanting to change the world, but they're not seeing the big picture. Look at the problems that we have with this COVID-19. All of these Generation X, the generation younger than me, they don't want to pay attention. They don't want to follow the rules. They want it all their way. Our educational system in the whole world is just crashing down because of stupidity and ignorance. Another thing that's happening, these people aren't listening to people that have experience. It's not the older generation causing the problems. It's not the older races, older people in each race causing the problems. We've already lived the life and we're looking at it saying, that's not the answer. But nobody's listening. Now, talking about online schools, I work for a school that teaches in the daytime online classrooms. I love this company. I do. In fact, I work for two of them. And I like them both almost identically. One of them I just have a lot more experience with. I know the people better. And I'm just in love with those girls. Their family, the administration. They are young. So don't get me wrong when I start talking about this. Just follow me. When I started with this company, it was mostly older teachers. My first year, I did great. I did. I had one complaint. This one teacher, Chinese teacher, couldn't please her at all. This lady was evil. Okay, one out of a lot, that's not bad. But then they started hiring these younger teachers. Now, okay, here we go. A lot of these younger teachers got a TEFL degree, which isn't a teaching degree, and I'm going to argue that point. I have no respect for a TEFL. Don't even tell me you got one, because I'm going to go, talk to the head. I will grudgingly say that a Delta and a CELTA, you put in a little bit of work. You want to impress me? You went to the university, you made a career choice, you made a decision, you wanted to be a professional teacher, you spent the hours, you spent the time, you got into classrooms, you knocked it out, you took the political hits, you took the bias hit. I'm impressed. And you come to work online and you've got that degree, that diploma, that experience. I'm happy. Because it's a professional job to me. As these younger teachers started coming in, they started making some changes. But one of the big changes was things that happened where we didn't get any complaints at all. Suddenly, we're getting complaints. Don't ask me why, because I'm going to tell you. These younger teachers came in there from these nighttime online companies, and they started doing this a dog and pony show. They started coming in there and they started going overboard with TPR, which everybody says TPR, total physical response. I agree, you need it, but you don't need to go overboard with it. They start burning up time, spending too much time on one repetitious point instead of stretching it out, using it in application, applying it to sentence, to context. They started being all about me, teacher-centered. It wasn't about the kids. But you know what was happening? Older teachers started getting complaints. They're not fun enough. The kids are happy in her class because they've got that 24-year-old girl over there who's just, hey, but hey. They're happy with her because the teacher can sit back and laugh. The kids are laughing. They're having fun. Are they being educated? I don't know, but you're sure being entertained. Professional teachers sitting over here introducing the subject, modeling the subject, guiding practice, checking for mastery, independent practice, checking for mastery. Good job, that's great, and doing it all within a real restricted time frame. Focusing on the child learning. But we're not fun. We're not the dog and pony show. This teacher says, I would rather have a teacher like that. I don't like my old teacher. What does the company do? Customer's always right. Cut. Now, who was responsible for that? It has a whole lot to do with the administration of the company. Right away, the company needs to settle these people down and let them know this is not a one-on-one class at night. This is not a one-on-one with 4. You are going into a classroom with 30 to 50 students and you're expected to be a professional teacher. Cut out all the games and stuff. Cut out all the the flighty stuff, because if you're in this school, now one of these schools is different from the other, the way they handle it. At one school, you may have 4 English classes in the same grade level at the same time, so there's 4 teachers there. You're being compared to dog and pony over here. And if you're not fun enough, if you're not as happy as these over here, suddenly you look old. They're going to ask over here, I want a younger teacher. You lose your income. You lose your deal. And the company can't tell you, you might have got blacklisted. They don't want somebody old. Well, this is what the schools want. They didn't care about that until they compared it with that other teacher. We need to tell these young teachers, slow it up a little bit. I know that sounds rough, and I know that you might not understand what I'm saying, but every action has an equal and opposite reaction. You can outshine 3 other of your teammates, and they can all lose a job because suddenly everybody wants entertainers. More fun. It's part of the problem with education today. Everybody wants it more fun. They don't care about the goals, even though we say we got the goals, we say here's the teaching plan, this is what we want to accomplish. No, it isn't. Not in some cases. First, we're advertisers, advertising the company. Second, we're entertainers, keep the kids and everybody happy, keep that money rolling in because everybody's having fun. And at the bottom of the list, you're an educator. Should be the other way around. First most is education. Use a little bit of entertainment to keep their focus in there. And if everybody's happy with the first two, the third one will take care of itself. It's happening. Another thing, the old is becoming downgraded. I'm seeing a whole lot of these development teams with people that don't have any experience with development, that don't have hardly any time with the company, put above the people who have been with the company, the senior staff, who have worked on some of these development projects. I'm in two right now. One of them, he's not over me, but today I got a message from the boss that she's discontinuing that. So I lose that pay right there. I don't know if he did or not because they're real secretive. He's on salary. I'm not. They put a lot of these younger ones on salary so they'll get all the classes, they'll get all the work before we do, even though we have been what you might say, the core foundation teachers of the company before they got here. But because we are the old teachers, we're kind of getting sidelined here. I'm a little bit concerned about that. I even have it on a deal right here where the girl, she says, let's see here. Now, this is one that put her name out there, all this, and I do this, and this, okay, I mentioned that, okay. And here's what she says here. Most of our team are what so-and-so called senior teachers. If you would, please share ideas that work for you here. So looking forward to learning from everyone's experience to get us rolling at this small info piece for one of the cities school I have is located in this name. It can be useful to know what things might be a part of these students' lives. The idiot is now trying to tell us about the school, the people we've been teaching in these schools. I've taught in China before. Most of us live in Asia. Unfortunately, she lives on an island somewhere out in the ocean from it. But I don't think she's only been here a year. What's she doing over all of the senior teachers? See, that flags me. She has no experience that I'm aware of, but I do know she's a yes person, and I do know she's a me person, I person. Now, I may be wrong. It may prove me wrong. I know she's got some great ideas. I'm not saying she doesn't. I know she does. But you don't put somebody just because they have great ideas above people with the experience. Because this is one of those kind of people that can cause you to lose your income because teachers don't want the old. They want someone like her, even if she's not educationally adept. You see what I mean? I hope you don't see it. I'm not trying not to be negative. I know it's coming off that way. I'm trying to express a generalization of what we need to look at and consider, because it could become a very negative situation. Now, I think we've got a lot of room to share thoughts here. I think we've got a lot of room to grow. I really do. I just feel like they should focus more on seniority and what people know. I'm a licensed degree teacher. There are some others there. I would rather be under someone like that. Personally, I really would. So, whenever there's people make these decisions, remember there's a dynamic. New people do bring in good ideas to a company. They're seeing it from a fresh viewpoint, a new set of eyes, while everybody else on the working floor has been doing it this way for years. We've reached production capacity, we've reached consistency, we've reached stability. It's running like clockwork. but we could fine tune it and create and make the company even better. But we don't see it because we've been doing this way for years. It's just routine. We're not even aware of it. New person comes in with new ideas. Now, do you take this person and automatically take them to the top? No, you don't. Because that idea doesn't erase all the experience with actually working on that floor. This idea will have to be incorporated into the process. The people with experience will have to apply that process and be sure that it can work within the system. This new person doesn't know the system yet. This new person does not know how the machinery operates. They got a good idea based on what they've seen, but is it going to work? It's a hypothesis. Same goes through. You don't take people right out of the university because they got a PhD and make them the CEO of a company. You got to give them time to grow up through the ranks to learn their position. And many, if not most, of the people in those upper corporate offices, they've never done anything down here in the bottom. They have not a clue what the people are doing down there. They're just looking at spreadsheets. Maybe you should take some of these guys and make them work on the floor and make them work up so they know what's going on down there. I love these companies a lot. I love these two companies that I'm talking about. Now, all of my videos, you'll notice, are usually about these nighttime companies. But I'm very concerned about the two I love. Hiring too many young people, too many for the amount of work that's actually coming, that's actually known to be there, overhiring, and putting these people over the older teachers, the older experienced, the senior teachers. I wouldn't care. There's one girl, she's a young lady. I don't even think she's 30. She's been with the company before it was called the name it is now. I wouldn't mind being under her. She's got seniority in this company. And she's good. She kind of puts me to sleep, but that's her method, her teaching strategy. And there's another one that's been there probably longer than her, but that particular one I couldn't work for her because I've seen her do some things before that really I have to just kind of, I just don't think it would work. But you see what I'm saying? You got to have the right fit for the right place. And sometimes the companies just throw these in here and shake them up and say, okay, this and this. I really think they made a mistake here. I really think they've made a mistake. Time will tell. Love them to death. I hope we can make it. I hope we can. But anyway, I know I've lost classes because of dog and pony shows, because I've actually had teachers tell me that. I know that it hadn't gotten any better, because when it's mentioned, your teachers get upset, complain to the top, and say, oh, he's saying we're unprofessional. I didn't say that. I said it's a professional job. We need to always remember that. And he said we put on a dog and pony show. I said we shouldn't be trying to put on so much that it makes our teammates look bad. Anyway, this is Teacher Terry. I hope you understand what I was trying to say in this, that there's a dynamic in here. The old have the experience. A lot of us, that experience is worth more than any PhD you can ever get. And it's time for the young people that's coming in to start listening and maybe take a step back so that they can look and they can listen and they can learn. This is not a nighttime one-on-one job. This is a professional position, teaching in a public school online. It's two different animals. And that's all I want people to understand. I respect my profession. I love my companies. I just don't want to see them fall. I've been with two companies that's failed nights. It's cost me and many teachers dearly. I don't want to see these two fail. This is Teacher Terry. I hope we see you in the classroom.